Welcome to this lesson on integration options with hybrid identities. In this lesson, we will learn how we can integrate and synchronize with on-premises Active Directory. First of all, let's have a look at our integration options. Don't be scared by the big table. We have three integration options, and these are password hash synchronization, pass-through authentication, and ADFS, where ADFS stands for Active Directory Federation Services. The complexity arises from left to right, with password hash synchronization being the simplest option and ADFS being the most complex options with most features. Available features grow roughly in proportion with complexity. Integration options can also be combined. For instance, we can combine password hash synchronization with either pass-through authentication or ADFS. We would use PHS for failover or leak credentials report. Password hash sync requires the least infrastructure. The basic idea is to sync the password hashes from on-premises to AAD. When we sync the password hashes, we can use the identity protection leak credentials report. When we only sync the password hashes one way, then we could run into the trouble that the user has different passwords for on-premises and AAD. So there is an additional option to enable password write-back. With pass-through authentication, all authentication happens on-premises. What happens in the background is that a PTA agent is deployed on-premises, which puts authentication requests from an Azure relay queue. Here is some guidance on what we would recommend a client and what to remember for the exam. The exam will most likely ask about seamless SSO, and the word seamless is important here, because all three support single sign-on. But in case of ADFS, the single sign-on process is not completely seamless. The second thing is whether or not we are allowed to store passwords in the cloud. If the answer is no, so we are not allowed to store passwords in the cloud, then we must go with the PTA alone. When we need a leak credentials report, then we would have to enable at least password hash synchronization, possibly combined with other options such as PTA or ADFS. A clear case for ADFS would be if our client requires maximum features, such as when smart cards or client certificates are installed on client computers for authentication, or when the client wants to display password expiry notifications in the Office portal, or when the client already has invested heavily in on-premises multi-factor authentication infrastructure. Okay, so that's it for our lesson on integration options. Next we will discuss how to configure it using AD Connect. See you in the next lesson. Bye bye.